wake up the next morning and my husband's like, hey, you need to wake up. We just got a phone call. Your mom's dead.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Zoe. I'm here with Zoe. Zoe is from Arkansas. She had a crazy situation happen, and we want to bring awareness, and maybe they can start investigating what happened with your mom. Do you want to walk me through what happened?
Well, I'll tell you the basis of what I know. Of course, we are still waiting on some information to come to light. But I'll tell you just from start to beginning, everything that I know. August 28th, I was out with my mom having fun. We were celebrating my birthday. We went out to dinner. We went to Walmart and just kind of shopped around. And the entire time she was just, come on, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. Come on, we got to go. And I'm like, Mom, it's the middle of the night. What do you got to go do? You're going to go home and go to bed. So that was all said and done. And she's just, the entire time she's in the car, she's just blankly staring, not talking to me, not responding to me whenever I'm talking to her. And I'm just like, Mom, dude, what's going on with you? And, I already know I already knew at that point that she was schizophrenic, and I already knew about, the things that she had been through just in her entire life, not even just with her schizophrenia. So I already had a little bit of a basis, but fast forward, I dropped her off. It was probably close to midnight. It was like 11:45, something like that, close to midnight. Go home, go to bed, wake up the next morning, and my husband's like, hey, you need to wake up. We just got a phone call. Your mom's dead. And I'm like, what? What? What did you just say? So I go outside and I call her boyfriend, and her boyfriend, they shot her down. They gunned her down. They shot her 5 times. She's dead. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? So he tells me the whole story, and I'm fast forwarding a little bit just so I can get you all the details of what happened in the story. So he woke up in the morning and, well, let me back up a little bit. They went to bed, and as far as he knows, he doesn't even know if she went to sleep or not. He woke up the next morning and she's sitting, they had a love seat sofa type situation where the recliners can lean back and there's a middle drink holder carrier. So they had that, and she's sitting in the left side of it, holding a knife up to her wrist, and it was a small steak knife. I think I sent you a picture of it. I'm not 100% sure if I did or not. It was a small steak knife, and he walks in the living room, just, what the hell are you doing? Give me the knife, get it away from her. And every time he got closer to her, she would do it again. He would back up as she would stop, and he would get closer trying to take it away. She would again. So he finally got to the point where he's like, okay, if you don't give me the knife, I'm going to have to call 911. So it got to that point where he called 911 and helped my old lady. She's dealing with mental illnesses, and I'm not 100% sure of the extent of the 911 call. I do know he said, hey, how do I get the bleeding to stop? I need help. So they told him how to get the bleeding to stop. And of course, she wasn't letting him get close enough to her to even take the knife away, let alone get the bleeding to stop. They get off the phone. They end up outside. At that point, I've heard stories that she's in the stomach a few times. And I've heard stories that now the only thing that I truthfully believe happened is that So at that point, the cops got there. She had the knife down to her side. Her boyfriend and the cop had gotten into some kind of altercation for some reason. I don't know why. And what had happened was she was walking towards the officer with the knife. That's something that I've been trying to explain to people, is that I'm not saying she's 100% in the right. She shouldn't have had a knife. I get that. But she was walking towards the officer with the knife. The officer told her to put the knife down. She said, I'm not going to put down the knife, in those exact words. And he let loose on her and emptied her clip on her. And she was dead before she hit the ground.
And that's what kind of training these cops got. That's what kind of training they have, is where they just eliminate the threat. They don't shoot them in the leg and maybe incapacitated. They could have maced her. They could have did all kinds of different things.
Anything. I mean, you can't tell me that a school, because he works at an elementary school, you can't tell me that he doesn't have a baton or a taser or a pepper spray or even a beanbag gun. For a resource officer, you'd think that they would have a beanbag gun in the back. Heck, I guarantee you threw a stick at her, she would have probably dropped the knife. I mean, it was definitely excessive force. And going back to, I'm not saying that my mom is 100% in the right, but regardless of the situation, regardless if she charged the cop, if she had a knife, if she didn't, 5 shots is still excessive force.
That's crazy. Did she ever exhibit behavior like this in the past?
Oh, yes. She was diagnosed schizophrenic in, I want to say 2021, 2022. And she did get put on medication, which, of course, as most schizophrenics are, once they get out of a controlled environment, such as a behavioral hospital, I don't have anything wrong with me. I don't need to take these medicine. The people in my head are telling me that it's poison. I don't need, there's nothing wrong with it. And that's something that a lot of people don't really understand about schizophrenia is, I mean, it's like you're in a whole nother reality. You could be sitting in front of you trying to drink a cup of coffee and people are, oh, that's poisonous. And then you see the coffee bubbling and it's not happening. It's just all in your head because you're schizophrenic. Even 2 days before she passed away, she went to the hospital and it was so bad that they had to call security on her. She wouldn't go into the room. She kept saying, I'm not going into the room with the wall. I'm not going into the room with the metal wall. And it was so bad that they had to call security on her, and they still told us, she doesn't want help. We can't give it to her. I told her that she had a knife.
They couldn't put her on a hold?
No, they couldn't put her on a hold unless she wanted to go. And I was like, man, we took a knife away from her that morning too. And I told them that, and they still wouldn't help her. Your potassium's low. Let us give you some potassium at least.
Crazy. Has she had like violent outbursts like that? Like, so you said that you took a knife away from her before, but has she done this in the past? Like to that
Not
extent?
to this extent ever. No. The most that she has done, even before then, even taking the knife away from her before, that was the first time that anybody has ever really had to take anything away from her. In the past, it's been more of empty threats and running away. That's honestly what she would do. She would go around town telling people things about you, and then she would say that you were the one who said it about her, and then she would run away. That's the extent of what she did before. For example, I moved her in with me about 5 hours away from where we are now. That she immediately ran away and moved in with this random guy she met at a bar, started running around town saying that I was her sister and that I poisoned her cats and just crazy things like that. But she's never been a threatening person, ever.
Yeah, like violent.
Yeah, no, never.
Have the cops dealt with her before?
Yes. And I know this not only just from knowing who my family is, but knowing who I am. Because like I said, I did live 5 hours away. And there were times that I had to call and, hey, I don't live down there. You guys need to go check on my mom. This is what's going on. She's schizophrenic. You need to go help her. Even the documents from the hospital from the night that she was there say that she was manic. Here it is. I'm going to try to show you if I can. I don't know if it's...
Yep, mania.
And this was, let me see if I can't find the date.
Wow, that was a few days ago, basically. The 27th.
It was 2 days before she passed away. Heck, even less than 2 days, because like I said, it was basically the middle of the night when we took her.
So what time did this incident happen?
This happened at 8:30 in the morning, Central Standard Time.
8:30 in the morning. So what time do you get a phone call?
That's whenever I got the phone call. And he called me like as soon as it happened. Hey, you need to get over here. This is what happened.
So what did you do? Walk me through.
I went over there. I went right over there, and that's where you see the well, at first I freaked out and I cried and I called my brother and my dad and my uncle and, kind of updated them. And then I went straight over there, and that's kind of where, you see the crime scene video that's on my TikTok page.
That's all it was. I need names and badge numbers. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want you to touch me. I need names and badge numbers.
State Police, Arkansas State Police is working this. The reason he wanted you back out is that it's active scanning. So what it's doing is taking little pictures of everything, and they get their scan together. So when you interrupt the scanning thing, it'll stop, and then they'll have to reset and start it all over again. So I'm sorry that happened. You didn't understand, and I know. That's what I came up to make you understand is they're scanning. So the state police is handling all this. They're doing the full investigation. And you'll get the results when they get done with it all. It's going to take some time, honey. It's just going to take a little time.
I need paperwork to get to the body cam footage. I need names and badge numbers of everybody involved. I need to know exactly what happened.
That will come as soon as they get their investigation.
She was schizophrenic, and there are complete other different lethal weapons that you guys have that you can use. You didn't have to shoot her 5 times in the chest.
I wasn't even here.
That's what I said.
It doesn't matter, the department, whatever.
Look at taster.
You're gonna tase her. She's schizophrenic. Tase her. She's a twig.
Yeah, I told him that. I shot her down anyways.
They are working.
I'm coming for his job. I'm coming for his job. I've already contacted a lawyer.
You have that right and all that. It's just calm down. Let them do their job. They're going to be here for a little while. And they're going to get all that done. When they get that done, I need you calm because you're the daughter, correct?
Yeah, I'm the daughter. How do you expect me to be calm in this? I don't even know where she's at.
They're going to release her personal stuff to you. So you're the next of kin.
Yeah.
So everything has got to go to you, okay? Stay calm. They're going to give you that
Is she
stuff.
dead? Just be honest with me. Somebody had to have heard something. She's not at the hospital. Y'all told me, I called both police departments and y'all told me she was going to CHI, and I called CHI shortly after, about an hour after. That's plenty of time to get her there.
Yeah.
Plenty of time. And they told me they only had one ambulance coming in for an 80-year-old man, and they didn't have anybody there like that at all. I need to know where she's at.
Out of here when I came in. That's all I know about
I just need to know where she's at.
I'll try to
I need
find
to
that
know
out
if
for you.
she's alive.
I will try to find that out for you.
Because this is...
We already checked St. Vincent's and
I've already checked St. Vincent's and Hot
I
Springs.
just called them about 10 minutes ago,
And they said no?
they said they have no Jennifer in New York.
Let me make some phone calls.
So we have the ambulance left with her running. That's all I know.
This could have been handled so differently.
Yeah, it could've.
So
It
differently.
could've.
She was... And you guys killed her? You gave her what she wanted? I took her to the hospital 2 days ago trying to get her help. And they basically told me she had to get help.
The one that went viral just out of nowhere. I'm very honestly glad that it went viral because now everybody who needs to know knows.
It'll bring attention to the situation.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I meant to say, honestly, with the people who need to know. It's the world that we live in. The only way to get people to take you seriously is by going viral. We live in a very technologically advanced world now. And a lot of people don't watch the news and they don't read newspapers. They don't care about that stuff. What they do care about is scrolling through their 15-second videos on TikTok.
Yeah, and they see that one everywhere. People, it's going to start getting attention. And I seen it.
Exactly.
That's how I was able to reach out to you.
Yes.
So what happens? You get there, crazy scenes going on, and what was the process? Did they put you in a car? Like, did they tell you?
No, not at all.
Here?
So I'm sure you saw the crime scene video. So after all of that was said and done, I walked back over to the crime scene, and I have pictures of that too. It's just TikTok won't let me post a lot of the stuff that I have. So I walked over there where they were talking to her boyfriend for some reason about like signing off for her personal belongings. And I'm like, well, why are they talking to him? I understand it's his house, but that's her stuff. And I was just told I was her next of kin. So he pulls me aside and he tells me basically that, hey, this is his property. We still have to go through him. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So the officer then just kind of leaves us alone. We're all just sitting in a circle kind of talking. They're talking. I'm looking over at on the ground where she was left. And I'm just looking at it, just staring at it, not saying anything, and then crying, and then not saying anything. And then they finally pull me over there to sign off on the search warrant that they had gotten for her personal belongings. Now, my mother was a marijuana smoker, and she had 2 glass in her bag. In my personal opinion, they shouldn't have never touched that bag. It wasn't on her person. It was zipped up and closed. They had no reason to touch that bag. And I know it's a small, insignificant thing, but it was still my mom's, you know?
They were looking for drugs so they could paint a bad picture.
They probably were looking for drugs to paint a bad picture of her, honestly, because I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that my mom didn't have an addiction problem. She was about a year sober. So, I mean, and we do live in a small town. The population's like 500. So everybody knows everybody in this town. You can't tell me they didn't know that she was a user at one point in time.
But she was sober at the time, you said, right? Like,
yes, even, and that's what I was about to say is, I mean, I took her to the hospital 2 nights before she passed away, and they did a talk screen on her. The only thing that she popped for was marijuana. That's it. So I think that that's what they were doing. And then that was just kind of the basis of everything. They had me sign that off. I said, can I go get her dog now? They said, yes. I went inside long enough to get her dog. By the time I came back out, everybody was gone. Just gone.
That quick.
That quick.
So what time is it by the time you get out of the house? What time is it estimated?
Oh gosh, what do you want to say?
What I think is crazy, something notable, is they took the time to go through her purse, which wasn't on or around her, but the scrunchie that was on her wrist and like on her when all that happened, they just left right where she died.
They did. They left. So this scrunchie right here.
But that was on her body.
This was on her arm. It was about here on her arm. And they just left it on the ground at the crime scene.
But they went through her purse.
But they went through her purse.
Her.
Well, I don't want to say that it wasn't near her because it had to have been outside for a reason. She had to have been carrying it or something. So I don't want to say that it wasn't around her. But I will say that I was probably there maybe an hour in total.
That fast?
Maybe. It was that fast. The video that I posted on TikTok, that was the main conversation that I had. That 10 minutes, that was about all that they talked to me about.
That's crazy that the whole investigation went that fast.
Oh yeah, and then on top of that, tell me how this makes sense. Even in the video that I posted, the Pike County Sheriff said, "Oh, we're washing our hands of this. We gave it to the state police. It's the state's problem now." Why is the state going to give it back to a Pike County prosecuting attorney?
And what did you have to sign over on a search warrant for? What? Her purse?
Her purse, yeah.
They needed a search warrant to go in it?
Oh, yeah, but they had already went through it before I signed over on the search warrant.
Yeah, that's not right either.
I even asked him, I said, because it says on the evidence log or whatever it is that says what they took out, it said that she had 2 glasses. So why did you take those? Oh, it's paraphernalia. I said, well, she's dead. She ain't going to be smoking it now. Why are you taking her stuff? And I understand that they had to get in there to get her ID, which I would have been fine with if they wouldn't have touched her stuff.
Are you going to have a funeral? Is it too soon?
So we had a funeral. We had it on September 10th. It was honestly pretty crappy. Not going to lie. It was just, Jesus wants you to join our religion. And then we sat down and listened to a song. And then Jennifer would have wanted you to join Christianity. And then sat down and listened to a song. And then closing prayer. And then that was it. They didn't let us speak on her behalf. They were rushing us in and out the entire time. It was just, and I hate to say us, they were more so rushing me. And I say me because, of course, I was the one basically in charge of everything aside from my uncle who had paid for everything. So they were, well, we need you to come sign this so we can get your mom cremated. My little brother had to sign it too, and he was still an hour out. So I was like, well, can we wait? Like, he has to be here. You can't cremate her without his signature anyways. The entire time I was there, they were, well, let's go sign this paperwork. Let's go sign this paperwork. Let's go do this. And then after the funeral, they were rushing us out with the flowers. Just, well, you got to get these flowers out of here. And then I'm sitting there having a mini panic attack. And they're like, well, you got until 4:30 to come and get them. Well, why are you rushing me?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of like they wanted to just get it out of the way and move on, right?
Yeah.
The funeral was more about Jesus than it was about her.
It was like you were, it's like if you were to go sit down at church. That's what her funeral was.
That's crazy. I mean, you can still have another one yourself,
Yes, and I have a GoFundMe set up on my TikTok for that specific reason. It's to do a permanent memorial for her, whether that be a bench, whether that be a plaque, even one of those permanent QR codes. Heck, even donating to a nonprofit in her name, you know, something to permanently memorialize her.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description of this video of the GoFundMe page.
If
So
I can, I don't know if I can.
I know how to do it. I know how to do it. So
Okay, yeah, it's in my bio on my TikTok.
what is your goal for the future? Like, how are you gonna go about moving on from this situation? Like, what are you gonna go after the police? Are you gonna open like a lawsuit against them? Like, what are your options?
So, you know, there's not really getting past this. That's just out the window the day she passed away. It'll always be on my mind until the day that I die. However, with that being said, long-term goals is we are planning on filing a lawsuit against the department and against the officer. I am trying to figure out the correct motions to take to get the prosecuting attorney taken out of office, not only for this, but for some things that she had done in the past to protect her pedophilic uncle and to protect a dangerous, violent felon, which is all on my TikTok page as well for anybody who does want to go out there, you know, that's fine. We're going to file a lawsuit against the department, and we're going to file a lawsuit against the officer. We are also looking to petition to get the prosecuting attorney out of office. And I have several other different reasons aside from this reason to get her out of office, which is all on my TikTok as well and on my Facebook, or, you know, wherever you want to go look at it. There's actually a petition on my TikTok as well to get her taken out of office. Aside from lawsuits and immediate things that we can do, I want to get some laws changed because this is going to keep happening to other families. And it's not going to stop until we all band together and get this fixed and get this changed. Something needs to change where the officers have better mental health training or they have a mental health crisis team available on standby at all times. Because this doesn't happen at 9 o'clock in the morning. This happens in the middle of the night. It happens in the middle of the day. It happens anytime. So they need to have somebody designated who knows how to work with mental health patients. On top of that, with the law enforcement, we've got to get some healthcare laws changed. It's, you know, schizophrenic people, they are in that mindset where there's nothing wrong with them. You can't just take them to the hospital and expect them to want to go get help themselves. You've got to make them go get help. And the only way to do that is to get some laws changed, because right now, the only law, especially in Arkansas, is, yeah, you can involuntarily admit them after you petition the court. After.
So by then, a whole bunch of things are happening. And
exactly. Even if I went the 27th, the night that I took her to the hospital, she would still be dead today.
And I think they need to change the way they deal with the lethality of stopping a situation. They didn't have to kill her.
No, they didn't have to kill her at all. And that's, you know, going back to mental health training, is they really need to sit down and realize that, you know, yes, they are human and they are, you know, capable of these things, but they've also got an illness. And it's not like they're sitting here trying to be bad people, especially somebody with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, split personality disorder, all of these different disorders that people have that are just mental awareness things. It needs to change to where officers, healthcare workers, heck, even if you call, for example, DHS here has like a elder abuse hotline. They need to have some kind of hotline for mental illnesses and mental help. Because if there was another way for him to get her help, I guarantee you he would have never called the cops. He's even said to this day, if I would have known that she would have died, I would have just let her stab me and went and got stitched up.
But she really wasn't threatening him with the knife, right?
Not that I'm aware of. From what I've heard is she was sitting on the couch, slitting her own wrist. And every time he would come closer to her, she would do it again.
He didn't get any injuries, did he?
And no, he has no injuries at all. And that's something else that they're
night,
saying is that, go ahead.
Was she acting different? Was she acting a lot different from the way she normally acts? Can you tell something was wrong?
You know, she had been acting different for about a week. And that's another thing with like mental illnesses is that it doesn't turn off and turn on in a day. You know, it could have been happening for weeks. It could have been happening for months. I mean, I know for a fact that mom was dealing with this since she was at least 6, because she kept very, very extensive journals about her life and about what she went through. And that was one of the things. So, I mean, she had been dealing with it for about a week, but it was just kind of the normal, and I hate to use the word normal in this situation, but it was kind of the normal schizophrenic stuff. Just get off of me, get off of her. What is over there? You know, are the kids okay? That was one thing that she kept saying. Are the kids okay? Are the kids okay? Are you sure they're okay? Are they okay? Just like, she was just overly worried and overly absent. It was anytime you wanted to talk to her, she was in her own world until the voices told her something about somebody she loves. And that's what I mean whenever I say, are the kids okay? Because that day that I'm talking about in particular, she was just in her own little world. And I'm like, okay, mom, well, I'm going to go take the kids home and then I'm going to come back and pick you up. And this was the day before she was murdered. And then she's just ignoring me. And I'm like, okay, mom, you ready to go? Or, okay, mom, we got to go do this. And are the kids okay? Are they really okay? I've got to go check on them. Are you sure they're okay? And I'm like, mom, they're in the car. They're fine. You're not going to go check on them. And, you know, I beat myself up to this day about it because, you know, that could have been, or was the last time that they could have seen their Mimi. And I also don't beat myself up over it because I also know what their last memory was. And I'm glad that that was a last memory instead of seeing her in such a manic, you know, that's not me stage. Because my oldest, even she does understand when her grandma is acting weird and when she's herself. And I'm very, very thankful that her last memory of her Mimi is having a fun day at the lake instead of seeing her freak out trying to make sure that they were okay. So, you know, I kind of got off topic a little bit. It'd been happening for about a week, but the last couple days was whenever she started to get, I want to say, suicidal.
Yeah. It's a really sad situation. And I seen the local news covered it by you, right?
So my brother and I have both been in contact with the local news. I'm still waiting on a bunch of phone calls back from a bunch of different news stations. But, you know, I would take every single news story with a grain of salt. You know, they're not legally obligated to tell the truth. And if you've noticed with every single one of the news stories that are out about this, none of them are the same in any way, shape, or form. They couldn't even get her name, her date of birth, what kind of knife she had right.
What were some other reports they were saying?
So there was one just misspelling her name. Almost every single one of them had her age wrong. They keep saying that she had a large butcher knife. Some of them are saying she was charging the officer. Some of them are saying that she was just talking to the officer and he refused his order. So, and the truth of it is I don't ever believe that she did charge the officer. I think that the first part of that was true when she was walking towards the officer and did listen to a command. And honestly, I do not feel like that is a good enough reason to kill somebody.
So didn't you put in a request for the body camera footage?
So I did, and then I called them. I put in the request last week, and they said that it takes up to 10 days for this information to be processed and brought back to me. So I called them today, and they told me that they had no record of it. No record. So I had to file another Freedom of Information Act today, and now my 10-day time limit has started over.
Oh, man. So they're playing games.
Exactly. It's like they're trying to, because there is the statute of limitations that they have to follow. And I think it's 30 days. I'm not 100% certain. Somebody told me 30 days. I just can't remember who it was. And that's why I say I'm not 100% certain. But I think that that's what's happening. I think that they're trying to push this under the rug until whatever last Monday was, except for a month from now.
That's crazy. Well, hopefully people will see this story and maybe they're dealing with a family member that's in the same situation. And what advice would you have for someone that's dealing with, say, their mom has the same kind of condition? What would you say to that person?
Just be their person. And, you know, a lot of people won't get that reference, but just be there for them. That's the best thing that I can say. A lot of people kind of close themselves out away from my mom, who could have been one of her support people and who could have been here to kind of help guide her along and help get her help. And they weren't. So that is the absolute best advice that I can give to somebody, is be their person and be there for them. Don't see their illness, see them. And a lot of the times you will see their illness, and you've got to push past it and see them. It's not them whenever it's their illness, and they're not going to do things the way that you expect mom to do it, or dad to do it, or your kid to do it, or whoever the person may be. They're not going to act like your person, but you still need to be their person.
So can you tell the people what your TikTok is or your Facebook so people can go check out your GoFundMe page?
My TikTok is Zoe_Row, and that is ZO _RO. And then just if anybody wants to check out my Facebook, that's fine. But I've been kind of posting the same things on TikTok and on Facebook, so you're just going to kind of double down on that. But my Facebook is Zoe, and that's ZOE, Rose Marie Laird, and that's LAIRD. Four names.
It's a lot of names.
Yeah. And my Facebook might be private. I'm not sure, so they may not be able to friend me. But I do have some things that are listed as public. For example, the Arkansas Justice Project on Facebook has been writing about this as well. And then there's also, I think his name is the Volunteer Texan on TikTok, is about to do a story on it as well. I'm waiting on him to publish it. He already has all the information. I'm just waiting on the video to come out. Also, my sister is on TikTok as well. Her name on TikTok, she's posting just right along with me. We go live together all the time. Hers is the best bitch ever, and it's the capital T, B, best is all lowercase, bitch is all lowercase, except for it's an asterisk for the I instead of an I. And then ever, the E is capitalized, and then I think she has an exclamation point behind it. If I could be wrong, but you'll see it. She's got like a pink and purple profile picture of some sort.
Yeah, I'll put a link for all your stuff in the description of this video, and people could go donate to the GoFundMe page. And if you have any updates, I'll have you back on and you can tell the people what's going on. If you guys are out there, you're listening to this show, go check out her GoFundMe page, help her get a memorial for her mom. And hopefully the state or whoever picks up this case and you can get justice for your mom. I'm really sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
Is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to before we go?
If you guys could, please pray for my grandma. This is my mom's mom. She was in and out of the hospital before this happened to my mom, but ever since this did happen to her, they said she's got less than a month to live. She has cancer in her liver. She's got 3 spots of cancer inside of her liver, and she's got 1 spot outside of her liver, meaning that it can travel to the other organs. And she is not eligible for chemo. So we're just honestly playing a waiting game at the moment. If you guys could please pray for her. Her name is Bonnie Woodbaker. She could definitely use some prayers. Also, I kind of want to, he doesn't really watch TikTok, but I kind of want to shout out my Uncle John. He's been kind of my stepping stone with all of this. He was my mom's best friend. So he's been, there a lot for me and my brother. And even now, he's kind of the only person there for my grandma. So I want to, in some way, commemorate him and commend him for being there for all of us through all of this.
It's a terrible situation. No one should have to deal with that type of stuff.
It is. And I also want to shout out Heather Coleman. That's my mother-in-law. She took my kids for a while after this happened with my mom, kind of gave me a minute to breathe and sort the stuff out in my brain. And it's definitely not an easy task for her to come and get my kids because we live so far apart. And I do really, really, really definitely appreciate her.
Definitely. Go check out her GoFundMe. Go check out her TikTok. And we'll be standing by waiting for an update soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for
If
having
you
me.
like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like the show, too bad. Start your own podcast.